How you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying, I don't know, where are we? Wait, did I? Yeah. Okay, here I am. Daf Tzadi. Today we're studying Daf Tzadi. Daf 90. Daf 90. We're finally halfway through. Masechta BavaBasra. 90 pages later. We're halfway through BavaBasra. Alright, but BavaBasra's been great. I don't want to compare it to any previous Masechtas, but BavaBasra has been excellent. Anyways, alright, we're going to start Daf Tzadi. Gewaldig. Tomorrow we finish the fifth parak of BavaBasra, which makes sense because it's 10 prakim. This is the end of the fifth parak. We're halfway through. Gewaldig. Okay, says the Gemara on Daf Tzadi Amud Aleph, we're about halfway into the Omid. Omar Shmuel says, Shmuel, the two dots. In Mosifan Alamidis Yoser Mishtus. We don't add onto measures more than 1/6. So if you have, so let's say in the town, in a certain neighborhood, in a certain city, they had a certain measure. So you wouldn't sort of, make a rule. Okay, everybody, we're increasing the measure by a sixth, by more than a sixth. Everybody throw away your measures. We're everybody get a new measure, and this measure is going to be a sixth larger than the previous one. We don't do that. More than a sixth larger than the previous one. Veloy alamatbeh yoser mishtos. And I guess if they increase the value of coins, I guess also similarly not more than a sixth. And if a person is profiting on epis, shouldn't profit more than a sixth. Ein mosifan alamidis yoser mishtos. We don't add on to the measures more than a sixth. My time. Why? Okay, so you're in a city, and I guess all the mongers use a certain measure, and all of a sudden they say, okay, we're changing the measures. The measures are now going to be larger. Don't increase it by more than a sixth. Why? If because, we're concerned that when all of the mongers throw out their measures and replace them with the new measures, they're also going to so they're going to have to adjust their prices, right? Because now, all of a sudden one measure is, there's more in the measure, so therefore there's more that is being sold, and therefore it costs more. And once already they're changing their prices, they say, you know what? Let's also increase the prices. As we know, eventually prices go up. So they say, you know what? Instead of changing the price now, and then another time we'll change the price, this is a good opportunity. Let's also increase our prices generally. So therefore it's going to increase. So therefore we don't. So if we say, don't increase it more than a sixth, because we're concerned that people are then going to take the opportunity to increase their prices more generally, well then, shtus nami lo. Well then, any amount, meaning if the whole point is that once they're going to have to make the new measures, they're also going to use that as an opportunity to increase their prices, well then they'll increase their prices even if it's less than a sixth. So, because they have an opportunity. So Ela Mishum, because the measures are changing, and therefore they have to get new measures, so they'll increase the price no matter whether it's a sixth or not. Ela Mishum Oinoya. So they'll have a bit of mekach. Well, maybe because of Ono. That let's say you have a merchant, a monger, let's say you have a traveling monger, and he comes to town, and he's mongering his stuff, and he's selling flour. And he assumes that the measure is I guess the previous measure, right? That it was, and he measures out what he thinks is a kilo of flour. Now, little does he know that it's actually a sixth more than that. So, but he only charged the buyer, the purchaser, for a kilo, not a kilo and a sixth, or more than a sixth. So if that were to be the case, well then the seller is the victim of ono, in which case the sale is null and void. And we want to avoid that. So therefore, maybe the suggestion is that by saying no more than a sixth, that you can't increase it by more than a sixth, well then it would be right? So then the sale would not be null and void. So if it's a concern of ona'ah, that if the measure is increased by more than a sixth, well then somebody, a traveling monger who is unaware of the change, well then he there would be bittul mekach because of ona'ah. So to avoid that, we say don't increase it by more than a sixth, that there won't be bittul mekach. But Rava says called over sheba midah, sheba mishkal, sheba minyan, anything that is measured or weighed or counted, even if it's less than the ona'ah amount, it would be batel, it would go back. So meaning if this monger thought that he was selling a kilo, but little did he know that actually they changed the measures and it was actually more than that, even if it was less than a sixth more, that's a mekach tos, it's a mistake. And therefore it would all be batel anyways, even if it's less than a sixth. Because that was a mistake. That was not overcharging. That was simply wrong measures. So ela deloy lahavi pseudo litagra. Well, rather because we don't want it to be a loss to the monger. That is the concern. Meaning, the sixth would be his profit, right? Meaning, I feel like maybe, did we say this yesterday too? I can't remember now. Maybe not. That basically the point is that if he's selling a kilo of flour for a certain amount, it costs him something to get that flour. The profit that he makes is a sixth. He profits by a sixth. And if you're now basically taking that sixth away from him because he just added a sixth without knowing, but he only charged for a kilo, not a kilo and more than a sixth, well then, so his profit is basically wiped away. But not only that, because if it's more than a sixth, so then he's actually at a loss now, because if it's more than a sixth, so then he basically sold a kilo plus a little bit more than a sixth for the price of a kilo. As it is, his profit is a sixth, but he gave away so he's basically eating into not even his profit, but his basic, investment. So we want to avoid that. So do have a pseudo letago, but pseudo do lo leave le rav choloboy. To which the Gemara says, but and what? So we're saying that if it's a sixth though, so he loses his profit, as if that's acceptable, right? We're saying it can't be more than a sixth, because then not only would he lose his profit, it would actually eat away at his principal. But if it's up to a sixth, then it's okay, because he just loses his profit. Is that okay for a monger to lose his profit and just get his principal without making any profit? Zovan v'zovin tagri ikri. What is he just buying and selling for the fun of it? So that you could say, hey, look, I'm a monger. I buy, I sell. I'm a monger. Do you profit? No, but I'm a monger. But is that why he's doing? He's just mongering to for fun? No, the whole point of being a monger is to make a parnassus, to make money. And therefore, it would be unacceptable to say that, it would be okay to increase the measures by 6, because in the case of the monger, he'll, at least he won't lose his principal. He just won't make a profit. That's not acceptable, that we should set up a scenario where mongers aren't making a profit. So, rather Shmuel, when he said that we don't add on to the measures more than a 6, it's based on a pasuk. He was darshaning a pasuk from Ezekiel. Ve'ashekel esrim gera, that a shekel is 20 geras. Esrim shkolim, 20 shekels. Chomish ve'esrim shkolim, plus another 25 shekels. Asara, plus another 10 shekels, so 20 and 25 is 45, plus another 10 is 55. V'chamisha shekel, and another 5 shekels, so 60 shekels. Hamana yulachem is a mana. A mana is 100 dinars. A shekel is 4 dinars. So 60 shekels is 240 dinars. And that is what's called a mana, which is really 100 dinars. So a mana, masan v'aboynavu. Why are we saying that it is a mana? Right, we're saying 60 shekels is a mana. A mana is 100 dinars. 60 shekels is 240 dinars. I don't understand. So elish mamina tlos. Rather, what this pasuk is teaching us is 3 things. It says that 60 shekels is 100 mana. 60 shekels is 100 dinars. It's teaching, where am I? Okay. Shmamina mana shel kodesh kafel hoya. So the first thing that is teaching that a mana of kodesh is actually 200 dinars, not 100 dinars. Okay, fine, but still, what's with the description? There's discrepancy of 40 dinars. Right? We're saying 60 shekels, which is 240 dinars, is a mana, which we're saying is 200 dinars. What's the discrepancy of 40? Now, chever, if you're paying attention, 40 is a sixth more than 200. Right? And as we're about to see, it's milavar, right? Meaning a sixth is really a fifth. So a fifth of 200 is 40. And then you add that, and it's 240, and that's a sixth. So mana shel kodesh kafel hoya. So we're learning that the mana was of kodesh is twice the regular manas, so 200 dinars. V'shma mina mosifin al midos, and we also learned that you can add on to the measures. That in the days of Ezekiel, the value of a mana was increased by a sixth. That it was no longer 200, it was 240, which is why it was 60 shekels. And it teaches that we don't add more than a sixth, right? So 200, we added a sixth, and it's 240. And that the sixth is milavar rather milagav, right? Milagav would be 200 divided by 6, but we're saying 200 divided by 5, and then you add the fifth to the total amount, and the amount added is a sixth of the total of the new total amount. Okay. As we learned to Masech the Bava Metzia in Perek Hazav. Rav Papa bar Shmuel talking Kaila bar Tlosa Kapize. So Rav Papa bar Shmuel, he made a measure that was 9 lugin. Now the previous measure apparently was 6 lugin. Okay. So Amrullah, they said to him, V'ha Amar Shmuel ein mosifin al midos yosem mishtus. But I thought Shmuel says we don't add onto the measures more than a sixth. And here you're adding a third, right? From between 6 and 9 is a third. Well, in milavar, right? Half of 6 is 3. Add that to 6, you get 9. So 3 is a third of the total. So mosifin al midos yosem mishtus. We don't add on to the measures more than a sixth. So why are you adding a third? So Amar Lehu, so he says to them, Ana kaila chadata takine. He says, no, I'm not adding onto the previous measure, I'm inventing a new measure. The measure is called the Kaila bar Tlosa Kapize. It's a whole new thing. Shaja the Pumbedisa lo kiblua. In Pumbedisa they did not accept it. Shaja the Papunya the kiblua v'karule ruz papa. But in Papunya they did accept this new measure, and they called it the papa measure. Okay, fine. Otsei Paris. Okay, people who hoard fruits. People who hoard fruits. So basically what they'll do is they'll buy up all the fruits and create scarcity. And then when there's scarcity, the prices will increase. Once the prices increase, then they'll sell at a higher price. Umave bribis, people who loan with interest. Umaktine efa, people who make smaller the size of their efa, so that they're charging an efa but giving less than an efa. Umafkiye shairim, and those who increase prices. Alein Akosov Omer, about them the puzzle says, Lemor, that they say, Mosa Yavra Chodesh Vinashbira Shever, when is the month going to end, and then we will release our food at higher prices. So that is like increasing the prices. Right, that they're just waiting and holding on to stuff so that the price will increase and then they'll sell it. Ve'ashabos v'nifticha bar, or when is Shemitah coming, and all of this produce that we've been hoarding, we will then sell at a higher rate, because during Shemitah there's less, the food prices are higher. Lehaktid efa, or to make the sizes of the measures smaller. V'lahagdil shekel, or to interest, to make the shekels more. V'la'avis mozne mirma, and to be dishonest with weights. And it says Nishba Hashem begon Yaakov that the Eibishter swears if I'll ever forget their actions. Also Paris, those who hoard fruits kigon man, like who Omar Rabbi Yochanan says Rabbi Yochanan kigon, for example, Shabsai Otzer Paris, like Shabsai the fruit hoarder. Avud Shmuel mizabnu lefer b'sara cherfa kisara cherfa. So at the beginning of the season, the prices of wheat and things like that would be cheaper. So Avud Shmuel would sell, if he had produce that was able to be sold early in the season, he would sell it early in the season so that the poor people would be able to take advantage and buy at the cheaper prices. Shmuel Brei, where Shmuel, he had a different approach. He also wanted to help out the poor people, but his approach was Mashi lefer mizabnu Bisara aflo kisara cherfa. He would hold on to his own produce. He wouldn't buy produce and hoard it and create scarcity. He would not do that. Rather, he would hold on to his own produce, which he's allowed to do, and he would wait until later on in the season when the prices got higher because there was scarcity. It was later on when the prices increased. He would then sell the produce that he was holding on to, his own produce that he was holding on to, he would then sell, but at the initial prices. He wouldn't increase his prices to help out the poor people. They sent from Eretz Yisrael to Bavel, Tava to Abba midivra, both Avur de Shmuel and Shmuel both acted in the interest of the poor people, but they said that what Avur de Shmuel did was greater. My time Akam tired the Ravach, because once there's a sort of precedent set for a good, cheap product, it keeps things cheap. And therefore, by Avua de Shmuel selling his produce early on for cheaper prices, it just generally kind of sets the prices, the market prices, kind of anchors them lower, as opposed to Shmuel also had the interest of Daniyim, right? He was when the prices increased, he was going to sell for less. Givaldi. But because he didn't sell it early on at a low price, so it missed an opportunity to anchor that low price. All right. Omar Rav says, Rav Ose Adam es Kabo Otzer. As we just said, a person can make his own measures and hoard them, so to speak. Right? Meaning you can't buy up the markets and then kind of create scarcity and then profit on that. That you can't do. But your own personal produce, if you want to hold on to it, gesundheit. Tanam Yochib Yochid in a brisa in Otzun Paris, Dvarim Sheish Bread Chaye Nefesh. We don't hoard, fruits and things that are, staples. Kigon Yenus Shmanim Vesiltos, like wines, oils, flowers, Aval Tavlin, but spices, Kamun Ufilplin, I think it's cumin and spice and pepper. Mutter, that would be allowed. But when do we say this? Below Keach Minashuk, if you're going to be buying out the market. But if you're talking about hoarding your own stuff, just keeping your own stuff for yourself, mutter, you could do that. Do whatever you want with your own stuff. A person is allowed to hoard produce in Eretz Yisrael the year before, during, and after Shemitah. People need to kind of make sure that they have food to eat. Now, if it is a year of scarcity, well then afilu kav charuvin lo yatzer. Don't even hold on to a measure of carib, because during a time of scarcity, the markets are so sensitive that any little bit of manipulation would be greatly felt. Amalei Rabbi Yosef Reb Chanina lefuga Shamoy. Rabbi Yosef Reb Chanina said to Fuga, his attendant, Pok atzer li peirei shalosh shanim erev shvius v'shvius v'motzoi shvius. Go and bring back for me produce for erev shvius and motzoi shvius. Tana Rabbanan Rabbi thought a motziin peiris me'eretz Yisrael. We don't bring peiris, we don't export peiris from Eretz Yisrael. Dvarim sheish boin chay nefesh, things that are staples. Kigon yenu shmanim v'siltos, like wines, oils, flour. Reb Yehuda ben Beseira mater b'yayin. Reb Yehuda ben Beseira permitted the export of wine because less wine means less people being inappropriate. And just like we do not export these staples from Eretz Yisrael to Chutz La'aretz, also we would not export from Eretz Yisrael to Syria, which is what David HaMelech conquered. Rebbe Matir Rebbe would allow exporting from one side of the border to the other side of the border. That would be okay. Peace out.